Around 70 workers have been locked out of Echuca's Parmalat yogurt plant for weeks in a dispute over pay and conditions. And that means, of course, many families in Echuca feeling the pinch because the workers haven't been paid since showing up to work one day and finding they were locked out. And they will be locked out for at least the next couple of weeks. It's the Fair Work Commissioner not holding the vote until March the 3rd. So the AMWU is the union in charge of negotiations with the company, but other unions are helping out, and a delegation of the Maritime union workers have driven inland from Newcastle, all the way from Newcastle to Echuca. We've got a donation on the line. I've got Jake Field, the MUA Newcastle branch representative. Jake, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Fiona. Thanks for having us on your show.
What are you doing?
What are we doing? We've arrived in lovely Echuca last night about 6 o'clock, and arrived down here out the front of the Parmalat plant where there's a large contingent of the workers that have been locked out are camping out basically. So we spent the night on the picket line here with the guys, and we just got up this morning obviously and having a coffee, and delighted to be able to speak to you about what's been going on here.
I mean, obviously there is a union link, but why the Newcastle kind of stevedores are interested in what's going on at a yogurt plant in Echuca?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is a good question, and I guess for our members, it does resonate. The small delegation that have come from Newcastle yesterday, a couple of seafarers, a couple of wharfies, a retired seafarer, and some linesmen. The struggle that these people are facing is identical to what's been forced upon us in the maritime industry, and I guess, you know, it's expected in our industry that we're going to face some pretty harsh punitive type action, such as lockouts. But for us, hearing that you know, 60 or 70 people in a small country town have had to face the same sorts of actions that we would face in a burly, rough and tumble industry such as the stevedoring or seafaring industry. I guess it was a bit of a shock to us, and to make contact with these people out here and hear their stories and what's been going on, and just exactly how it's affected them, not only in their own family lives, but in their community. You know, these people have to face up to their neighbours and the shop owners and all these people they've known probably their whole lives, and be asked about this dispute and be, you know, told that they're on strike and told that they're overpaid, and we've faced all these things ourselves, and it really resonated with our guys, and you know, as not just as a show of solidarity, but more a sense of moral obligation. You know, we raised some money in a quick amount of time, and jumped in a minivan and drove across the country to come and give them some support.
Support, and I understand you've also got a donation. Yeah,
so we were able to raise about $3,500 just by going around to several of the workplaces that the Maritime Union of Australia cover, the tugs and linesmen at Spitzer, the little dredge that runs in the harbour in Newcastle, the coal loader and the wharfies. So, you know, blokes put their hands in their pockets and tipped in straight away. There wasn't a question asked. In fact, the only question asked was, when are you going back and how much more can we donate? So, yeah, we were very grateful to the guys that stumped up straight away, and we're really proud to be able to hand over, you know, what really is for us a small amount of money. You know, we'd love to give whatever we could, and you know, but it's significant to these people here. They haven't been paid, and they're battling, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic, and I'm so pleased, because certainly everyone in Northern Victoria feels for people at Echuca who haven't been paid for so long. But, you know, this is a bargaining situation. These are workers who are in the middle of a pay dispute. You know, is this not simply the future of the workplace? They're fighting against something that they will not win, which is the casualisation of the workplace and the stripping away of some conditions that Australian workers have been used to for decades, but nevertheless, in the modern workplace, they often simply don't exist.
Yeah, I'm glad you've said that, Fiona, because unfortunately this is a sign of the times, and governments, particularly our government, are failing us when this is, this sort of tactic's not only allowable under legislation, but it's actually supported. These guys aren't on strike. It's not fundamentally a pay dispute. They've been made an offer, which, particularly a pay offer, which was acceptable. What's not been acceptable is that the company sought to terminate their existing agreement because these workers have, as you say, they've raised concerns about the casualisation of their workforce. They've raised concerns about contractors being brought in to do their work, about labour hire firms being brought in to do the overtime that's rightfully theirs. And these are precisely the challenges that the modern workplace faces, where transient workforces, backpackers, 457 visas, these sorts of working conditions are becoming more and more the norm. And if you don't,
that's right. So shouldn't the workers simply face that?
Well, I'm not sure they should simply just face it. I mean, these people are, they've invested their lives in this place. A lot of them, talking to them last night and this morning, got people with 23, 24, 30 years plus in the place. They're in a small community. They're paying their mortgages. As I say, they've got a lot invested here, as any worker does in any workplace. And to think that you can turn up to work, assuming that you're just going to walk in the gate and be able to go about your business and find out there's a padlock on there when you've done nothing other than try and bargain for what rightfully, as an Australian, has been granted to you through years of struggle, industrial struggle, to be able to achieve some of the fantastic conditions we've got in Australia. And I don't think we should forget that we live in a country that is very, very expensive. It's $1.60 for petrol. It's, the median house price in the suburb where I live in is approaching $650,000, and it's not that good of a suburb, let me tell you. So, these are the sorts of things workers are facing, and unfortunately, you need to bargain in good faith, and these guys absolutely believe that they're doing that, and Parmalat, from all accounts, have decided that their bargaining style is simply just going to be one of putting the shutters up and refusing to talk until they hear the answers that they want to hear.
All right, well, look, we must leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy your time inland in central Victoria.
No, thanks very much. Thanks for having us here, and good luck on that Melbourne Star flight. I'm glad I got to talk to you before you went on that. You may have ended up on stress leave, I think.
Thanks, Jake.
Good on you, no worries.
Jake Field is a Newcastle branch representative from the MUA.